Good evening, Facebook followers. My name is Tom Loewy. I'm a columnist from the Galesburg Register-Mail. And we are back live. I am waiting to be joined by Dusti Moultrie in what we're hoping to be a live interview. Dusti Moultrie, to give you a little background on her, she has been spearheading the social media aspect of the search for Alexis Scott. She's also been a major organizer of the groups that have gotten together in Peoria to look for the person missing. So I am waiting for Dusti Moultrie to show up, and I don't see it. Okay, as we said, Alexis Scott is a young woman. She's 20 years old. She is the mother of a 2-year-old child, and she went missing on here. So we're waiting for Dusti to be added. Okay, so she went missing September 23rd. Dusti, is that you?
It's me.
Okay. Hey, how you doing down there in Texas?
I am nice and warm. I'm sure you didn't want to hear that. 73 degrees.
Well, you know what? We almost hit 50 today.
Oh wow. Well, you guys are doing better.
Yeah, we're doing better. So Dusti Moultrie, introduce yourself to our Facebook followers in Galesburg and with the Galesburg Register-Mail.
Well, my name is Dusti Moultrie, and I am a social worker, and I'm originally from Galesburg, Illinois. I lived in Peoria for 17 years. And I recently moved to Texas about a year ago.
Okay, so just give us, I've told folks a couple of times on a couple different broadcasts, but in your own words, tell us how you got involved with the search for Alexis Scott.
Well, I was actually just looking through Facebook, and I seen that there was a missing girl from Peoria, and the mother was not getting a lot of help. They had attempted to do a up to the search. So in turn, I sought out the mom because I had some friends that were in higher places that could possibly assist the mom.
And the mom's name is April Allen, just so folks out there in the listening land know. How do you think it's gone so far?
Well, there have been a lot of bumps in the road. It's been very frustrating. There have not been a lot of solid leads. There has not been a whole lot of community support, and I mean that by like feet on the ground. It's taken a lot of effort to get the Peoria police to be active. It took them 26 days to issue a warrant at the last place she was seen. And the only reason that happened is because the mother went to a
city council meeting.
Yes, to a city council meeting,
right.
And kind of spoke out.
So, I know that there's a lot of rumor, there's a lot of kind of good information, tantalizing information. In your opinion, you've been with this a long time. What are the concrete kind of facts that we know about Alexis Scott's last, maybe day in contact with other people?
The concrete facts are she was riding around earlier in the evening on, and I say evening like the early morning hours of September 23rd, like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
With a male and another friend. During that time, she was solicited by the one of the occupants of the home on Richmond Avenue to come to that house to smoke some marijuana. According to what we know for fact, there's been two separate beliefs. One is that a cab driver said that she is thought to have dropped her off at 5-something that morning. Another is...
And this is at a house on Richmond Avenue. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
This is a house in the 100 block of Richmond Avenue in Peoria.
Yes, correct. Another possibility is the male that she was riding with stated that he, in fact, dropped her off at that house at 4 o'clock in the morning. So the only hard facts that we have is she was at that house that night. From there, we cannot seem to pinpoint a solid truth. There's been a few speculations from the approximate 7 to 9 people that were at the party, that she walked away, that she got in a blue Impala, and some just don't know. And unfortunately, both of those stories have been kind of back and forth between the party goers.
Okay, so there's a lot of waffling on stories, and it's hard to pinpoint how she leaves the residence in the 100 block of Richmond Avenue. But you feel pretty confident, and you think investigators feel confident that she was, in fact, there.
Right. She was, in fact, there. That has been corroborated across the board, that she was, in fact, there by the partygoers. Anything outside of that, there's really nothing of hard facts.
Okay. You know a lot about this, and you've obviously had some contact with the investigators.
Yes.
Do the investigators, have they indicated to you or to April as to when cell phone activity ceased?
Alexis did not have a phone that was actually turned on. So we have not been made aware of much of anything outside of what I just told you. And if April has, which I don't believe she has, then it would be something that is unknown, or something like extremely imperative, but I don't believe so. I speak with April almost every day, so I don't believe so.
What can people do? What can I do in Galesburg? I spoke with a Jerry Short, I think it is, Jerry Short today, and she was not being critical of anyone, but she wondered if at some point hiring a private investigator might be an option, if people got together a fund to help out April Allen. Is that something that's been talked about at all?
That's something that is active and ongoing. There is a GoFundMe set up for that purpose, along with the purpose of whatever may come across that comes to searching for Alexis or taking care of her 2-year-old son, because she does have a 2-year-old son. It's a
Okay.
GoFundMe
Right.
that is set up. It is in our group, the Alexis Camry Scott campaign.
Okay. And they can look it up. To repeat again, that's the Alexis Camry Scott campaign. So if they
Yes.
go to GoFundMe, pardon me?
Yes.
If they go to GoFundMe and type in that complete name, or just Alexis Scott, chances are they'll find it, right?
If they type in Alexis Scott, they will. And actually, the flyer that is on your article that is on the Register Mail website is the flyer that is associated with the campaign.
Okay,
with the
great.
GoFundMe
And they can also find out. They can find out about the campaign from the Alexis Camry Scott campaign Facebook page, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Here are some of my last questions. I think I have 1, 2, or 3. You're a long ways away in Texas.
True.
And this has been going on for you now since the end of September. What keeps you going at this?
Because I have a 25-year-old daughter, and it's just, that's my nature, is to help people. I could not imagine being in April's shoes and the feeling that she may have. This case has me emotionally tied. The lack of effort by the community, in the beginning, it has gotten better online, but not as far as I've said before, feet on the ground, when it comes to searches or vigils or things like that we have done. It still lacks greatly in that area. I couldn't imagine feeling alone. And so I'm pretty good at resources, and that's really been my focus.
In your gut, and I've asked you this on the phone, in private, what's your instinct here as far as everything that you're seeing and everything that you're hearing? What do you think has happened? Or do you think Alexis Scott, I guess more to a point, do you think Alexis Scott is still alive?
I hold hope every day that Alexis is still alive. Sometimes it depends on the day, how I'm feeling. I know for 100% fact that Alexis did not leave home of her own free will. That is what I can state for a fact. She absolutely.
Why do you feel that way?
Because when Alexis was in Las Vegas and she was kidnapped and she was beat up and she was naked on the street, she got away. So that in itself will tell you that she has a strong will and a personality. And at that point, just 3 weeks prior, she did everything she had to do to get out of the situation that she was in. And she made it very clear that she never wanted to be in a situation like that again. And she was living at home. There was no turmoil between her and her mom at the time. And she has a 2-year-old son. If she would have left home by her own free will, she would have definitely contacted her mother and contacted about her son.
I want you to take a step back for a minute. And I know you're a social worker, and I know you have a wide range of experience with a lot of different kinds of people.
Sure.
And their life issues.
Sure.
Do you think part of the lack of interest in Alexis Scott's disappearance might have to do with some of the choices or not choices that she was making before she disappeared, and maybe some of the activities that she had been involved in? Do you think people take a look at that and say, well, you were an escort, of course she's going to drop off the map? Do you believe that's the case?
I think that plays a part in it. I also think, unfortunately, There are other factors that add into it as well, such as she's a young Black female, and with her having the background of partaking in some of the escorting, that people make judgments, and I think it's harder to get certain people that would normally be involved, and especially right now with how our nation has become, with all the racial division. I think that adds to it, along with the different outward things that are going on in the Peoria Police Department, as far as have been surfacing about different racial thoughts from police officers within the department, because that's an issue that's happening now too.
It's got to make it doubly, triply hard, stacked up against those kinds of even notions. I mean, that makes it even more of a challenge, I imagine.
It does. Each time we talk to the police department, they assure that they are doing everything. However, their lack of compassion for mom, the latest tip that you wrote about Hadley, we know for a fact that they had not followed up with that lead, and that was given to them at least 6 days ago. I don't know if they have as of today, but as of yesterday, they had not. So when it takes 26 days and a city council meeting to even get them involved, when we have a vigil on December 29th and we're able to come out there in front of the doors of the Peoria Police Department in the freezing cold, but yet nobody can step outside of the Peoria Police Department to see who's there, to take a look, to say, are you okay? It kind of breaks down the camaraderie, I guess you would say,
right,
between us and the police department.
My last question. What's your next step? Do you have any more avenues of searching left?
We do. Some of those we can't talk about. Some of those we can. We are urging and begging for the FBI to become actively and publicly involved in the case, because I think there's enough evidence prior to of what happened to her for them to take a hard look at this case.
I lied. I have one last question.
Sure.
And thank you for joining me this evening, because we did this off the cuff, and I've never done a live interview like this, so you made it really easy for me. I appreciate it.
I don't mind being a guinea pig.
Hey, this there might be, we don't know for sure, but there might be a deep, dark story about sex trafficking here. Am I wrong to think that as a reporter that there might be something a lot darker and bigger behind this story?
I actually, in working on this case, I have become more familiar with sex trafficking and just how much it's really happening right in the Peoria, Galesburg area, much more than I ever knew, which is scary because I do have a 25-year-old daughter, and thinking that could have been her. It's gotten so much so that even the Center for Prevention of Abuse is now helping victims of sex trafficking in the Peoria area, which that has never been a necessity before.
Dusti Moultrie, I want to thank you for joining us tonight on this Facebook Live broadcast from the Register Mail Facebook page, and I hope you folks get a chance to share this as much as possible. And we at the Register Mail, we really hope that this social media effort that you spearheaded, that you started, and that you've doggedly kept pursuing, we hope that it helps.
I do want to say that our group has 3,100 people, and it really takes a village. That my voice became the outward voice, but there are a lot of people doing a lot of things behind the scenes and assisting in this case all across the country from various different organizations that are trying to help the best way that they can.
Thank you for your time tonight. We'll do this again, I hope.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Dusti.
Thank you.
Enjoy your warm Texas temperatures.
I surely will. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.